Well, I express my deep regret. I remember what I said in 2011 already, when the United States lost its voting rights and suspended their payment, that the United States matter for UNESCO and UNESCO matters for the United States. In fact, if we go back into history, we will see not only that United States is a founding member of UNESCO, the whole idea that you can build peace through education, science, culture, communication is basically an American idea, born of course in the UK, consecutive meetings, conferences of ministers of education even during the war. And particularly the first words of our constitution were penned by Archibald MacLeish, the poet and librarian of Congress, who said, since wars begin in the minds of men, it's in the minds of men, nowadays of course we say women, that the defenses of peace must be constructed. And then I believe in all these years we have forged, and particularly this last time, we have forged a very strong partnership, very, I believe, relevant to the foreign policy agenda and overall agenda of the United States. I'm talking about countering terrorism, I'm talking about preventing violent extremism through education, engaging with young people, eliminating hate speech, working against anti-Semitism, preserving the memory of the Holocaust, preventing genocides. I can continue this long list. So it is with deep regret that today I received a letter from the Secretary of State.
Do you have any reason, specific reason that you think you could possibly work on to have them reverse this decision? Because if I understand correctly, they will still be here until January 2018.
Well, the decision has been taken, and it's just according to the Constitution and the rules that they will formally leave UNESCO at the end of 2018. But it doesn't mean that we will stop partnering. I will appeal once again for partnerships on these, I think, very important matters, which are a common value that we share with the United States. And then, of course, we will never stop working. My successor also, as I'm stepping down, I believe the organization will continue working because from my point of view, the universality of this organization is critical. If we are this large platform for intercultural dialogue, for human rights, for freedom of expression, for safety of journalists, working all across the board, for eradicating poverty, for fighting obscurantism, for fighting for literacy and for against ignorance, I think we need everybody on board. And particularly, of course, the United States, who are our founding member and one of our most important supporters in all of these endeavors.
Did this decision come to you as a surprise?
Well, to some extent, yes, because albeit the United States is not paying its dues, we have been having very good partners. We partner with the private sector, we partner with Intel, Cisco, Procter & Gamble, Microsoft. I can continue this number. We're inscribing on the World Heritage List monuments in the United States and places. And from that point of view, I would like to remind the American people that on the World Heritage List is the Statue of Liberty, which says something not just for the Americans, but to the world, with a very strong message, or the independence whole, because this is where the U.S. Constitution was signed. It's so emblematic, I would say, for the U.S., for the history and for the world. We have UNESCO chairs, we work with institutes, universities, we work with the cultural institutions to protect heritage, to fight financing of extremism through the fight against the illicit trafficking of objects of art. So it's a very vast agenda that we have. I hope we continue working, albeit the US becomes an observer, in order for give the opportunity to the US to come back.
Can I ask about the mandate of UNESCO to build peace in the minds of men and women? Some have said that this maybe could be symbolic of how this mandate has, in a way, been hijacked by political conflicts within UNESCO. Would you have any comment on that assessment?
Well, I would say that, of course, politics in the world change. We are not working in a vacuum. We are not existing. We are a UN agency, and we reflect what is happening in the world. But I would agree with you that politicization of UNESCO these last years has taken a toll on the organization. And my responsibility, as I have seen it, I'm speaking as Director General of UNESCO. Of course, member states have their own sovereign right to adopt decisions, but my responsibility in this moment, in this period, was to pass a message of uniting us around a certain cause, of looking at the communality, because I believe we exist in order to give in some of the national ambitions, in order to fight the common good for humanity. And this is why multilateralism exists. This is what we are working through the different conventions, the World Heritage Convention, or some of the major policies that the organization adopts. And I have always in this time have tried to remind member states in different circumstances why UNESCO exists and what should be our responsibility in bringing together countries, different cultures, understanding, sharing, which is very important message of UNESCO that we have to share. We have to share cultural sites. We sometimes share religious sites that different religions aspire to and think they're theirs. But this is why UNESCO exists in the first place. And my role has always to go back to the sources and remind member states about this very important responsibility.